Hi. One of the coolest things that we've been building is called QueryGen. And the reason it is cool is because it's not just your typical AI agent which is running SQL queries. No, it does a lot more. So once you've connected your Postgres database, QueryGen figures out the schema of the database. It will figure out what your query needs to get that answer. It will find out the right tables, the right columns on its own, and it will generate the appropriate SQL query to be executed. It will execute that SQL query. And if it makes a mistake, if there is an error in the SQL execution, it will learn from that mistake, correct that SQL query, retry it until it gets the right answer. And not only that, it will perform an analysis on top of it to answer your query. All of this while ensuring one of the biggest challenges, which is role-based access control, being implemented as part of it as standard. This is why QueryGen is awesome, and I love it. I want to give you a couple of examples of how it works so that you can just understand a very simple use case of this. Starting with a very simple query, something as simple as showing you a line chart of some retail data. So if you notice, QueryGen has actually generated that visualization on top of the data that it extracted. And there is more, there is an insight. It is performing a very basic analysis on top of whatever was extracted. There is also a debug section where you can actually verify the exact SQL query that it generated to get that answer. All of this is part of QueryGen already. Now, if I want it to do a much complex analysis, I can switch the mode to deep thinking mode and ask a much complex question. For example, now this is a complex question which requires a little bit of work to do. And all you have to do is send this, sit back and let QueryGen perform the thinking. And while it thinks, which will start soon, you can just have your own cup of tea. If you notice, it is performing a very deep analysis of what is needed based on the schema of the database that is available. Based on your access and everything else, it takes into account all of it and then runs the SQL queries to get those data points and performs an analysis on top of those data points, all the while ensuring that if it's making a mistake, it will retry from learning from the errors, error codes and everything else. All of this is happening in the backend while you're seeing the way it is thinking the solution. See, it has performed a very deep analysis, extracted metrics on its own, and there is a much detailed analytical report. All of this while you were having tea. So you know what are the exact promotional recommendations that you can do based on your products, action items, exact items, and all these is readily available for you on QueryGen. So this is not your typical Q&A bot anymore. It is doing stuff for you. And like I mentioned, all of this is while ensuring security of access control and everything else. For example, in this case, this is our UI where you get to tweak all of these things. So you just need to go to the selected database, fetch schema for once. This needs to be done once. And you can see that these are the tables which exist. I can create a new role, assign like which exact columns this person has access to or this particular role has access to, and it will run those queries taking into account all that access control that you've set up for that database. So this is basically how it works. You can also keep a check of every single conversation that has happened with QueryGen, just like what we already have for rest of our Periscope products. So this is why I find it very cool. So if you want to try, just let me know. We'll turn it on for your Postgres database and you can try it on your own end. Bye.